G'day everybody, Wade Northhausen here for Billboard Battalion. Today is the Tuesday the 10th of June 2024 and we're coming to you live from Griffith in New South Wales. We're actually just outside the Southside Griffith Leagues Club, where we came up here today to attend a meeting which was being held by the Legislative Assembly, a Committee on Investment, Industry and Regional Development, and we all know what that means. It's a public hearing and they were set up here to hear submissions on the impacts of the Water Amendment, the Restoring Our Rivers Act 2023 on the New South Wales regional communities. So, as we all know, there are enormous impacts on New South Wales regional communities, in particular the agriculture sector, and what we're really seeing is an extension of the Murray-Darling Basin Plan that is going to take an additional 450 gigs of water out of the system. Now, we were up here about 6 years ago when I was fighting against the Murray-Darling Basin Plan with an organisation that I had called Southern Basin Communities. And would you believe it, that this very venue is where we held our meeting here of Southern Basin Communities in 2019. In fact, it was the very same room. So imagine our surprise when Billboard Battalion got up here and went into the club here, into the Leagues Club, only to discover that this parliamentary hearing had actually been cancelled. And the people that we spoke to at the Griffith Leagues Club here said that they had only received a phone call 15 minutes prior to say that the parliamentary inquiry was cancelling today, and that they actually made the call in mid-flight. Apparently the plane had to turn around and go back. So not 100% across what that was all about, but we also can say that another hearing was scheduled for Deniliquin in New South Wales for tomorrow, which was Wednesday the 11th of June 2024, which also has been cancelled. So anybody who might have been going to attend that meeting in Deniliquin, that's no longer going to happen. And I think it's a case of watch this space to see when this might be rescheduled. So that's as much as we can tell you about that. But as I said, it was pretty deja vu to be in exactly the same venue that we were in with Southern Basin Communities in 2019. And we might wonder why we're here again 6 years later. Well, the reason being is that the government has come back into the Murray-Darling Basin water pool to buy up another huge big chunk of water, because under their environmental fraud they are determined to destroy more farmers and more communities and more Australian food security. And it seems bizarre that I'm actually saying, quite literally, word for word, what I said back then in 2019. In fact, it's even more odd that we ran into some people here who'd come for this parliamentary session here where they could make submissions, as well as us, and they were having a cup of coffee once they'd found out the thing was cancelled, and talking to these people, they actually attended the Southern Basin Communities meeting that we put on here in Griffith at this very venue in the same room 6 years ago. So it was really great to catch up with people who were still in the fight over water, and the chat that we had for a while you know, they put up some really great information that would indicate the incredible level of corruption and illegality in everything to do with governments and this water stuff, and many of the people who are in the water industry. So where I said back then they are in the business of the Murray-Darling Basin Plan being designed to destroy Australian family farmers, to send them broke, to force them off the land, and to do this with fraud and illegal activity. These people that I was talking to today really put up a great deal of evidence to support all of that. So yeah, it's rather disappointing in one way that back in the time I'm talking about, I said to a lot of the people, we need to be saying how the Murray-Darling Basin Plan is all based on fraud and criminal activity, and it is designed to wipe out our family farmers. And at that time, you know, there were many of the other people who were in this fight refused to say that. They continually went on about how the plan it wasn't fraud, like I say. They said it was flawed. Now, very, very sadly, and to say this as nicely as I possibly can, at the time I said if we don't all stick together and use the proper language, very strong and clear-cut language as to what this is about, then the community won't get behind us because they will be confused. And as it's turned out in many other things, the lack of clear-cut language has resulted in the community being confused. So therefore, the government did not back down. What we needed was a massive public backlash against the government, and we had to present a case that was strong to the public and that was factual, and therefore that's what we didn't do. So I put it to you that the reason that we're back here 6 years later and the government has in fact come back to take another 450 gigalitres of water out of the consumptive pool for irrigated agriculture is because we weren't strong enough. And that's a lesson that I said at the time, this is going to happen, and it has. And now one of the disappointing things is that some of the people who were in the game back then, who were talking about the plan and the science being it was just flawed, you know, they were doing the best they could, you know, but it's just flawed. Can you believe it? That the same people 6 years later are saying the same thing about, oh, it's only flawed. The government policy is flawed. Like, my God, what's it going to take? So if we do that, the government knows the farmers won't put up a fight. They will use wishy-washy, weak language that doesn't convince anybody to stick behind us. The government aren't frightened of us because they know that the farmers and the organisations just will not have a go. They won't spit it out as it is. So, and I say this, you know, many of these people are friends of mine, you know, many people I've known for years and years. But the bottom line is, if you don't have a crack and you don't go to war against these people, then you're going to lose. And I remember interviewing one of the women who is involved with this stuff there a couple of years ago, and I said to her, you know, at what point do you work out that the government is actually trying to send you broke? Their policies are designed to do that specifically. It's not about the environment. And this woman said to me, and she's a hell of a nice woman, terrific, you know, a great community advocate and a tireless community worker, who said to me, well, Wade, I would hope that in my heart of hearts that that's not true. Now, what's it going to take? You know, that is not a lobbyist. That's not a fighter. That's somebody who is just a beautiful person with a great heart and just believes everybody is terrific. That there are no nasty people around who would deliberately do you harm. So the bottom line is that, you know, they've just got to come out a million times stronger, or you're going to end up with nothing left at all. And it will be our fault because we don't fight back hard enough. So I'll just finish by saying that everything that's happening here is all part of a one big plan, the big picture, the overall global strategy that has its roots in a thing called the Great Reset. And Australia now is signing up to international treaties which are going to give our enemies the power to completely destroy agriculture, totally wipe it off the face of the earth in Australia, send every farmer broke, bankrupt, off the land. And they have many numerous strategies to make this happen. They are making it happen. So we've got to get rid of the wishy-washy weak stuff, get some backbone, and be determined to fight this, and fight it in the way that you must do it. And I'm absolutely open to talking to people about that strategy, how it happens, because I'm pushing this with what is now Billboard Battalion all the time. So our farmers need to understand what's happening, the big picture stuff, and if we keep trying to fight things on an individual, local level, we are just going to get smashed, myself as well as everybody else. So I'll leave it with that. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll talk again soon. Thanks very much.